Friends, you cannot win them all, and February was one of my worst months that I have had in a very long time. In today's video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about why it was such a rough month. I have other videos that go a little bit more in detail and things that I've done to increase it, so I'll link the video up here, more detail into my reselling business. But in today's video, I'm looking at my entire business. I will be splitting out we'll be looking at my profit and loss, so looking at my gross number, but then taking out my cost of goods, my shipping, my fees, my expenses, and then how much I save for taxes, the behind the scenes of a reselling business, how much we actually make, as well as sharing with you guys the split out, how much of this is actually reselling. You're watching me on social media, so what percent of this income is coming from social media, digital products, affiliates, and all of that. I'll be sharing that split out. And then I'm tracking my 2020 goals for the year, so I'll be sharing that as well with you guys. Every single thing that I do is strategic. I look at my numbers, I look at my data, and I make strategic decisions on my business. It is not by luck that I am making the amount of money that I'm making, and that things are selling and I'm purchasing. Every single thing that I do is for a reason. So I'm kind of walking you through in these videos my goals for 2022, what I'm looking at, what I'm changing, and how it works. Not everything that I do works, so we're checking in each one of these videos on my 2022 goals. This is a monthly series. I share with you my entire behind the scenes of my reselling business financially, not just that flashy gross number. I share all the way down to that net number and how much I'm saving for taxes. So definitely make sure to subscribe so you guys can see how I do every single month. If you want to see previous months that I do a little bit better than I did in February, go ahead and check out how much money I made playlist. Let's jump right into it. It is a meaty video, so we'll get right down to it. A little bit of background if you're new to my channel so you know what these numbers are representing. We're looking at February of 2022. Those are the numbers that we'll be looking at. I am a part-time hours reseller, so I typically will work 15 to 20 hours. Honestly, for all of 2022, I've been working about 5, maybe 7 hours a week because life has been crazy. I've done some videos in the past. You guys can check those out on exactly what happened. But in February, just so you know, I averaged about 7 hours of working. So that includes, I have a preschooler who is part-time, so he goes half days. We had COVID at the beginning of February, so I was legit sick. It was not a mild cold for me. You know, I'm about 5 weeks out and I'm still napping every day, still really exhausted. But for at least a week, I didn't work at all. I have drafts set up. I get ahead. I'll link the video up here on how I get ahead because I was still listing every day. I was still shipping every day. That was it though. I was not sourcing. I was not taking photos. I was not doing YouTube videos. I get ahead so that I can stay consistent when things like this happen, but definitely not working my normal hours. I was sick, as well as my children were sick. My husband was sick. So there was a week and a half when I just was doing the bare minimum. And then you go into, I'm in Colorado. We've had quite a few delay starts. A delay start means that my preschooler is home with me. They don't have preschooler for a delayed start when you take him to school and you have to pick him up, you know, in a half an hour. So a lot of delayed starts. Towards the end of the month of February, I was starting to get back into working more. However, I have become a sub for my kids' school. So I'm subbing about 1 to 2 days a week, and I volunteer at the school 1 day a week. So now we're looking at, you know, kid-free time is about 2.5 hours when the kid's at preschool. I'm subbing and volunteering 2 to 3 days a week. So that's really only, you know, maybe 2 days if there's no delay starts or anything, that I'm working kid-free, and then a couple hours in the morning. I do shipping with my child. So, you know, that's 2 minutes an item. So usually it's about 10 minutes a day, except for on my weekend packages, which tends to be about a half hour, maybe an hour if it was a really good weekend. So that's where we're sitting at with the numbers, how much money or how much time I'm spending. I'm able to make the money you guys will see in a minute. I'm able to make the amount of money that I make because I do have 2 virtual assistants. I'll link a video up here for you guys to figure out if it's something that's right for you, looking at your numbers to drive these decisions. And for me, it's absolutely worth worth it. I'll talk a little bit more when we get into the numbers and the data, but I do have 2 virtual assistants. So that is one of the main ways that I'm able to work so little hours and still continue to have a business that is running and producing money. I do have digital products and 3 digital products and 2 courses, dashboards, so you guys can look at your numbers and your analytics. It's just a Google sheet. You put your information in, and then all of the information, the charts, the graphs, the analytics will populate so you guys can look at those. This will go into the split out, right? So you're going to see the gross number, and then we'll talk about the split out. How much of this money, this gross revenue, is coming from my digital products? You're watching me on social media. I am an affiliate as well for a couple places. You'll see in a minute. It's not a main part of my business, but I do make some money, and I'm full disclosure with that for you as well. What types of things do I sell? I am on Poshmark and on eBay. I do not go anywhere else, mostly because of bookkeeping. Poshmark and eBay and Etsy are the only places that I found where you can download a report and it gives you all of the information that you need to be able to do your bookkeeping for tax purposes. I've looked into Mercari, I've looked into some of the other places, and I'd have to go in one by one for each item, and it just simply is not worth my time to do that. It's just not worth it for me. So that is why I'm on Poshmark and eBay. I sell women's clothing, shoes, and purses, like 95% of what it is. Some of it is men's. I do hauls, but most of this channel is going to be teaching you how to look at your numbers. So it doesn't matter what you guys sell, you can still learn a lot from this channel. But just so you know where these numbers are coming from, mainly women's clothing, shoes, and purses. I've been moving more into thrifting, and we'll talk about this in a minute, thrifting and doing the bins. 2020, beginning of 2021, I was doing liquidation, new tags, pallets, and purchasing, overstock and stuff. I've decided, I'll link a video up here of really the strategy and why I'm shifting, but I've kind of been moving away from that. Let's get into my 2022 goals, and then we will get into the numbers. You guys can see my profit and loss statement, all of those numbers in behind the business. So I do want to share my goals, kind of tracking each video of this year. I will share what my goal is and kind of the progress that I've made. Goals for 2022. My big goal for the entire year is increasing my net because I'm out of time and space. So hear me out. I don't have any more space. I work from home. You guys have heard, how busy my life is. I don't have the time to be able to go to a storage unit. I've looked at getting like a thing in a storage space in the back of the house, like a shed or something. And then honestly, the numbers don't say that it's worth it, at least short term. So I am kind of out of space. I am planning on keeping my gross, right? I can't, unless I increase how many items I'm selling or how much they're selling for, I cannot increase my gross revenue in my reselling business. I cannot increase how many more items I'm selling. I mean, maybe a little here and there. I am working with, I can put 2 pairs of jeans in the same slot that I put a pair of shoes. So I'm working a little bit with that, but not in a large scale that I'm going to be able to really increase that growth. However, if I decrease some of my stuff in my profit and loss, and we'll get into this in a minute, if my gross stays the same, but some of these lines in the profit and loss, when you get to my net will increase if my expenses, my shipping, my fees, my cost of goods, any of those items in between, if those decrease, it's going to make my net increase. And I'll talk about this a little bit, things that are happening behind the scenes of making this happen. One of the big things that I'm doing to make this happen is my first goal, which is lowering my cost of goods. This goes into switching from liquidation to going to more to the bins and to thrift stores. Now, in doing this, lowering my cost of goods, I still have to keep my gross the same. So I still need to be buying items that are going to give me, I am normally around a $35 average sale price. I still need to be buying items that are giving me that same gross, but that I'm paying less for. So we'll get into those numbers in a minute. And then the 2 other things that I have as my goals, increasing other parts of my business. So, my reselling, I'm pretty much at max capacity, like I said, besides decreasing some of the other cost of goods. Shipping and fees is really hard to decrease. Honestly, it's kind of just part of the business. Some other things that I can do to increase my overall is going to be increasing some of the other parts of my business. That includes, I can do more affiliate marketing. I can add more dashboards. I can improve my dashboards. I can market my dashboards. Something with my digital products I can do more of. Those are other parts of my business. Social media, can I increase that? And then the third one is decreasing my expenses where I can. So two things that I have been working on, like I said, January and February have been kind of survival mode. So the only thing I've really done over this time is trained one of my virtual assistants to do some of the back end in YouTube, which is freeing up some of my time so that I can work on other parts of my business. I talk about this a lot in my course on how to decide when to outsource. And I also, in the video up above, how to decide if a virtual assistant is right for you. If I can pay someone else to do something for less than I can be doing and making more money at, then it is worth it for me. It's also worth it to free up some of your time so you have a life. Just saying that. Only you can decide when that is. But so I am freeing up some of my time having my virtual assistant do YouTube for me. It's not going back into this reselling business, to be completely honest, but it is allowing me to sub 1 to 2 days a week, which is bringing in more income. Not in the reselling business. You guys aren't going to see it in this video, but it is bringing in more income that way. Minimal expenses. I'm not really able to do much with my expenses. I'm kind of coasting there. I don't have a lot of expenses outside of my virtual assistant, and they are worth it for me. All right, so let's jump into my profit and loss statement. Let's go ahead and take a look at the top number, this gross number. So what we're looking at is the green is going to be 2022. I'm comparing to 2021. Like I said, my goals are to kind of keep my gross revenue the same, but then increasing my net. So I want to look at how I'm doing compared to 2021. You can see this was not a great month. I did $7,677 for February 2022. Last year I did $9,600. So I am about $2,000 short. A couple of the reasons for this, like I said, I was working minimal hours. I also, because we had COVID, I also I intentionally suppressed my sales for about a week and a half. Not only I normally list 10 items every single day. I went down to 7 items every single day because honestly, that in and of itself, even though I already have the drafts ready, 7 was about all that I could do. And then shipping as well. It was hard. It was rough. I was still shipping every day, but I really didn't want to be down in my shipping place shipping 10 items a day. So I intentionally suppressed my sales by not running sales on eBay, by not really sending out offers, by listing less. So I was still making some sales. I was still making daily sales. I was still doing daily listings, but I was doing less than normal. A couple of the other things, and let me know if you guys were noticing this as well. February in general for women's clothing, shoes, and purses tends to be a lower month than usual anyway, just because it's towards the end of winter. So most people have everything that they need for the winter. We're not quite into spring yet to where they're doing spring shopping. So that's one thing. February tends to be lower. You can see I was lower than I was last year. Typically, because the platforms know that this is a lower month, they do their platform updates. So eBay and Poshmark both had platform updates this month, and every single time, friends, every single time that they have a platform update, it is going to impact your sales. There's things happening on the back end. It's going to mess with the algorithm, a day or two, sometimes a week. It's going to happen. Let me know if you guys notice it in your reselling business, kind of things went down, and then after a week or two of the updates, things came back up. Poshmark, part of the reason they came back up is there was a lot of outroar about how things were being found. And so Poshmark actually went back to an old way. So I think that helped a little bit as well. Like I said, I went from listing 10 items a day to listing 7 items a day, which on eBay is definitely going to make a big difference. For about a week and a half, I did that. I intentionally suppressed my sales, like I said. And then one of the main reasons that my overall gross is down for my entire reselling business is my dashboard sales are down. My digital products are down. My social media is about the same, but my digital products are down. So this is something that I need to do a little bit more research on and see if I'm not promoting it enough, see if people are it's kind of plateaued, right? Everyone who wants it has it, or I need to have a further reach, or people just, everyone who wants analytics is kind of found found the product and I'm kind of plateauing there, right? So those are the main reasons that my sales are down. Let's go ahead and jump up to the profit and loss statement. So like I said, I will be sharing all the way down, say till the very end, I will be sharing all the way down to my net number, what makes it into my bank account, and what number I base my taxes off of. Gross is, we're looking at February 2022. Gross to $7,677. Like I said, this is one of my, this is my lowest month in a very long time, probably over a year. I will say, and stay till the end because we'll be looking at my net, right? My goal this year is to increase my net. So my net compared to last year, even though I'm 2,000 off, is actually better. So I didn't make as much as last year, but my goal is actually working. Just so you guys are aware, I do have 1,765 available listings. This is currently how many listings I have on eBay. This number, the gross is, remember, my entire business, not just my reselling. If you want more reselling videos, check out some of my how to make money reselling, how much money I make, lots of other videos that I go really in depth into my reselling business. This is my entire business. My cost of goods, I sold 207 items. My cost of goods for those items was $1,290.92. So I want to talk here a little bit because this is one of my 2022 goals, is to lower this cost of goods. This puts me at about a $6 cost of goods. Last February, my cost of goods was between $8 and $9. So this is working, and you can see here, we're going to go ahead and scroll down to look at my gross profit, and we'll look at my gross profit as a percentage, 83%. So once you take out a cost of goods, I am making 83% of that gross. And this is up. Last February, I was at about 78%. So this is up from last year. Lowering my cost of goods is increasing my gross profit. We are going to see, because my dashboard sales are down, right? There's no cost associated with that except for my time. So we are going to kind of see a little bit of a shift because, and stay with me, I'll talk you through these numbers, but some of the numbers to follow aren't up as high as I would like them to be because my parts of my business that do not have costs associated with it, so cost of goods, shipping, and fees, right? Just my time, digital products, social media, things that just take me time and not actually costs behind them. Some of those were down for February, so you're going to see that. I did have 6% returns for the month of February. This is eBay. I didn't have any returns on Poshmark, so this is all eBay. I have free returns on like 80-90% of my items. I will link a video up here on free returns and how to decide if it's right for you. Instead of just telling you what I do, I walk you through a test scenario. I did it, what numbers I looked at, how I decided, what tools eBay gives you to help you decide, because you sell things that are different than me. Your business model is different than me. So you have to be able to figure out how to make these decisions for yourself and not just do what other people do, looking at your numbers and your data to figure it out. So that video is up above. My gross profit hourly is $274, averaging about 7 hours a week. This is not sustainable long term. I said this in my January video as well. I have to play catch up again. The reason that I was able to do this is because I had inventory, I had photos, I had, from times when I was working more hours. I cannot work 7 hours a week and continue to list every single day. So that is my hourly, full disclosure, but keep in mind, it's not a sustainable practice. Let's go ahead and look at the split out, and then we'll get into my shipping and fees. So this is the split out, and if you guys follow me and you've watched this video in the past, you will notice, oh, sorry, I clicked the wrong button. You will notice this eBay and Poshmark split out is a larger percentage than it is in the past. The dashboard digital products tends to be closer to 10 to 15%. Like I said, those numbers are down, and those numbers have no cost minus my time associated with them. So you'll see in a minute my net, while my gross profit is up, as we filter down, it's actually not going to be up as high as I would like it, because things that have no cost associated to them are actually down. This is something that I'm going to be working on. However, I will say my social media is up 3.5%. I have been working on trying, doing these videos. Social media is a lot of work. Part of what this is from as well is Instagram is doing like a beta testing, paying you for reels. And that's not, as far as I know, that's not a long-term program. So I don't suspect this will be up. My YouTube It's about the same every month. Honestly, maybe up $1 or $2, but it's not. YouTube is very, very, very small growth for lots and lots and lots of time. So you can see this is this gross revenue. I am a YouTuber, I am a social media, but you can see my reselling business is, what is this? 60 plus 20, 80, 90%. 90% of this gross revenue is coming from my reselling business. You can see I'm not making money from YouTube. I mean, I make a little bit of it, but I am a reseller. That is the majority. That is the main part of my business. All right, let's go back over here and go ahead and look at selling fees and shipping. I'm not going to talk a lot about these because there's not a lot that I can do here. Selling fees on eBay, on Poshmark is 20% flat fee. That is what it is. eBay, there's a lot of fees. I will link a video on eBay fees and how to figure out how much you're actually paying, because it's going to depend on what you sell. If you do promoted listings, if you are top rated seller plus, right? And so it's all going to depend. Last month was February, 13% were my eBay fees. I will talk that one of the ways to lower, right? I'm working on increasing my net. So one of the ways that I have increased my net just slightly is lowering my fees. And on Poshmark, I can't do that. On eBay, I can do it by offering returns, right? So 6% of my items are getting returned. I am paying those. However, in looking at the numbers, and like I said, I have a video I linked. I do eventually run out of cards, so I will link the videos all down below. But I talk about this, how to decide. 6% of my items are getting returned, but I'm getting a 10% discount on all of the other 94% items. And that is lowering my selling fees, making me make more money, right? It's a numbers game. It sucks doing returns. You may not like it, but look at your numbers. And for me, I end up making more money because I am getting that discount. Shipping is pretty much a pass through on Poshmark. Just for those who are new to reselling Poshmark, the Poshmark covers it unless you offer a shipping discount. That tends to be very minimal for me on Poshmark. I rarely offer a shipping discount. You do have to offer it with offers. But most of my sales come from people sending me offers. On eBay shipping, I do a flat rate shipping. So not to be confused with USPS flat rate shipping, which I use sometimes. But everything, like for anything under a pound, I charge $5.50. On average, I've looked at the numbers. On average, that's about what it costs me, regardless of where I send it in the country. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes it's a little less, but it costs me about $5.50. I'm fortunate to be able to do this because I'm in Colorado, so I'm in the middle of the country. So it's not, if you're on the East Coast and you're sending something to the West Coast, or you're sending something to the East Coast, you may not be able to do that. That's what I mean by flat rate. And it is a pass-through. I do not intend to make money on shipping. I intend for the buyer to pay what it costs for them to get the item. So now we're looking at my contribution margin. We are, sorry guys, I keep clicking on the wrong button. Contribution margin, now we're at $4,147. So if you look at this, we're at about 50%. If you are getting in the reselling business, I keep clicking on this too hard, sorry. If you're trying to get into the reselling business and how much money am I actually going to make, taking out, our cost of goods is pretty low, and you can probably get it even a little bit lower than that. But before you take out your expenses and your taxes, you're looking at about 50% that you will be making. Obviously, it's going to depend on what you are selling. Let me know down below, resellers, what your contribution margin is or what any of these numbers are. I always like to see how I compare to others and what's normal. Not a lot of people share these numbers, so it's hard to know. I will say here, so my contribution last year, my contribution margin of February 2021 was 53%. So this is where it's a numbers game and being strategic in what you're doing. I make these decisions based off of numbers. And so what this is telling me is my gross profit margin was up. I am making more gross profit margin, almost, I think it was 6%, right? However, my contribution margin is coming down. And the reason for this is, again, my digital products, my social media, my affiliates, all of the parts of my business that have no costs associated to them was down. So my gross margin, my gross profit, my top number isn't as high and isn't as padded with some of those numbers that I'm not taking cost of. So however, while my cost of goods went down, my contribution margin is about the same because other parts of my reselling business that do not have costs associated with them are going down. And this is one of the reasons that I have picked that 2022 goal. Increasing my net not only means bringing my cost of goods down, bringing my shipping and my fees down, which I can't really do, and my expenses, but looking at other parts of my business that really only take my time and don't have a cost associated to it. That's going to increase my gross, and that is going to filter all the way down to my net because I'm not taking things out of it, minus my time, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at my expenses. How much money does it cost to run a reselling business? We are very fortunate. I work from home, so I'm not paying storage fees. I'm not paying, I'm not paying a lot as resellers. We have very low cost of goods. We have very low expenses, but we do still have expenses. And for me, I'll show you the split out in a minute, but in February, guys, I'm so sorry. In February, I spent $1,071 on my expenses. I will go ahead and show you the split out of where that money is actually coming from. This is a split out. You can see for me, the largest part of my expenses is coming from virtual assistants. For me, it is worth it. I worked 7 hours a week, right? There is no way if I didn't have virtual assistants making those drafts for me, and in the background of YouTube, I still had a video every single week in February on YouTube because I had virtual assistants working in the background. This is one of the ways that I continue to stay consistent. It may not be the best business model for you, but this is for me the biggest chunk of my business, of my expenses, is going to be virtual assistants. Some other things that come out of this number is office supplies. List Perfectly, so I use List Perfectly. There is a code down below. SarahStylesLLC will get you 30% off if you guys want to try it. That is one of my affiliates, but you can see if you look at my channel, I don't actively promote it. It comes up and so I share it with you, but that's about it. My phone, my internet, my electricity, my water, my trash, and my IT and tech. So I will say before we get into the taxes part of this, these expenses, and because I work from home, they are a percentage of what it costs, for us to do our trash, for us to do our electricity. These numbers are coming from a CPA. I am not a tax accountant. I am not a CPA. I am showing you what I do for my business. Always consult a CPA about your numbers, about your business. I'm just showing you what they have told me to do for mine. So now let's look at my profit before taxes. This is the number that you are taking your taxes from. And this is why it's so important to pay attention and keep track of all of your numbers, because the smaller this number is, the less taxes that you are paying, right? And so for me, that is $3,076.03, which puts me at a 40% profit before taxes. So of that gross number that I shared with you, 40% of it I am taking home, but then I also need to save for taxes. This does put me at an hourly rate of $109, which is pretty legit, to be completely honest. However, this isn't sustainable long-term, right? I said, this is not something that I do all the time. If I were continuing to do this for many, many months, I'd run out of inventory. I'd run out of items to list, because I do need to be out there sourcing and taking photos and other parts of my business. Before we get into what my last number is, my net number when I take out how much money I save for taxes, I'm just going to tell you what my CPA has me. He's very conservative. I save this amount every single month. We file my taxes once a year and, kind of figure it all out. I pay quarterly. So I have the assumption that I have a 20% federal tax rate. This is going to depend on your income level. I file with my husband, so it's a dual income. It's going to depend on where you fall on that income for a federal tax rate. I assume a 20% tax rate. I have a state tax, so this is not to be confused with a sales tax. This is an income tax, and I have a state income tax at 5%, and then there's a self-employee tax of 15.9%. So I assume a 40% tax rate off of that profit before tax number. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what this is going to actually end up being. Profit, let's do profit less taxes, $1,845.62, $65 an hour, reselling on Poshmark and eBay, working 7 hours a week. This is a monthly video, so if you guys want to check out some other ones or ones in the past or future ones, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I will link, or YouTube thinks you'd like this video, I will link how to make money reselling videos here, and have a wonderful day.